The conference hall stretched higher than any building on Earth. Hyun stood near the back, watching alien diplomats from across the galaxy gather for the Peace Summit. 2 years had passed since humanity made first contact with the Draxian Empire, and he still felt small in rooms like this. The Draxians were beautiful in a way that made humans look plain. Their skin shimmered like crystals, reflecting light in rainbow patterns. They stood nearly 8 feet tall, graceful and powerful. Most importantly, they could read minds. Their telepathy made lying impossible and communication instant. Hyun adjusted his translator device and reviewed his notes. He was just a junior cultural liaison, far below the important diplomats. His job was simple: explain human customs, answer questions about Earth, and stay out of the way. Ambassador Yuna led the human delegation. She was brilliant and experienced. Hyun was there to learn. "The Queen approaches," someone whispered. The massive doors opened. Queen Talira entered the hall, and every being present bowed. She moved like water, her crystalline skin glowing with soft purple light. Her eyes were ancient, carrying the weight of 800 years of rule. She wore robes that seemed to flow without wind, and a crown that looked grown rather than made. Hyun bowed with the others, but when he straightened, he found himself staring. Not because she was beautiful, though she was, but because she looked tired. Her eyes held a weariness that her perfect posture tried to hide. The summit began. Hours passed as various species discussed trade agreements and territorial boundaries. Hyun took notes, trying to understand the complex politics. The Draxians were powerful. Their technology advanced beyond human understanding. Most species treated them with fear, disguised as respect. During a break, Hyun walked through the palace gardens. The plants were alien, glowing with bioluminescence. He sat on a bench, enjoying the quiet. "You are not afraid." The voice made him jump. Queen Talira stood nearby, alone except for 2 guards who waited at a distance. Hyun stood quickly and bowed. "Your Majesty, I apologize. I did not mean to intrude. You did not answer my observation. The others fear me. You do not. Why?" Hyun thought carefully. "May I speak honestly, Your Majesty? I am telepathic. I would know if you lied. Speak freely." "You are very powerful," Hyun said. "Your empire is vast, your technology incredible. But you are also just a person, a leader with heavy responsibilities. I respect your position, but I do not fear you as a person." Talira studied him with those ancient eyes. "Curious. Most beings cannot separate the crown from the individual. Your species lacks telepathy. Perhaps that limits your perception, or perhaps it frees it." She sat on the bench, shocking her guards. "Tell me about Earth, not the diplomatic facts. Tell me something real." Hyun sat down, keeping a respectful distance. "Earth is beautiful and terrible. We have oceans that stretch forever and mountains that touch the sky. But we also have wars, hunger, and disease. Humans fight each other over everything. We are not united like your empire. Yet you reach the stars." "Barely," Hyun smiled. "We are very young compared to you, children really. But we are stubborn. We do not give up easily." They talked for an hour. Talira asked questions about human culture, history, and art. Hyun answered honestly, not trying to make humanity sound better than it was. He talked about human mistakes, fears, and hopes. He made her laugh when he described human attempts to understand Draxian technology. "Your scientists kept trying to improve our medical scanner," Hyun said. "They took it apart, studied it for months, and then spent 3 weeks trying to put it back together. It still does not work correctly. Now it scans for emotions instead of injuries." Talira laughed, a sound like bells. "They broke a medical scanner?" "Completely, but they learned from it. That is how humans learn. We break things, fail, and try again. The summit continued for 3 more days. Hyun found himself talking with Talira several times. She would seek him out during breaks, asking questions about humanity. He learned that being a queen was lonely. Everyone wanted something from her. Everyone feared her power. No one simply talked to her. On the final day, during a cultural celebration, everything changed. The Great Hall filled with species from across the galaxy, sharing food and performances. Hyun watched a Draxian dance, mesmerized by the flowing movements. He did not notice the figure moving through the crowd with purpose, but he noticed the dancer's expression change. Just for a moment, her eyes widened. It was a tiny thing, a flicker of fear. Humans were good at reading faces. They had to be, living without telepathy. Hyun turned and saw a server approaching Queen Talira with a drink. The server's hands trembled. His eyes were too focused, his breathing too quick. "Stop!" Hyun shouted, running forward. He did not think. He just moved. The server dropped the tray and pulled a weapon. Energy crackled from the device. Hyun crashed into Talira, knocking her aside. The blast missed by inches, scorching the wall behind where she had stood. Guards swarmed the assassin. Chaos erupted. Hyun found himself on the floor, Talira beneath him, his body shielding hers. Her guards pulled him away roughly. "Wait!" Talira commanded. She stood, composed despite the attempt on her life. "He saved me. How did you know?" Hyun's heart hammered. His face. He was scared but determined. His hands shook, but he kept coming. Humans learn to read expressions. We have to without telepathy. "I saw his fear and knew something was wrong." Talira stared at him. Around them, Draxian nobles whispered in shock. A human had saved their queen. A human had seen danger that telepaths missed. "Interesting," Talira said softly. "Telepathy reads thoughts, but you read something we do not. Physical signs, body language. We never needed to learn such things." The celebration ended. Security increased. Ambassador Yuna thanked Hyun, but looked worried. Saving the queen was good, but it also drew attention. Humans were supposed to be quiet partners, not heroes. 2 days later, Hyun was summoned to the throne room. He went nervously, unsure what the queen wanted. The room was vast, filled with nobles and advisors. Talira sat on her throne, magnificent and distant. "Human Hyun," she said formally, "you have done me a great service. I wish to honor you and your species. I propose an alliance between Earth and the Draxian Empire, sealed by marriage. I offer myself as your wife." Silence fell like a hammer. Hyun's mind went blank. Around him, Draxian nobles exploded in protest. "Your Majesty, this is madness!" one shouted. "Humans are primitive. They live barely a century. They have no telepathy, no power." Talira raised her hand. Silence returned. "I have decided. This union will bring our people together. It will show the galaxy that we value humanity. And," her eyes found Hyun's, "I am curious about this species that survived without the gifts we take for granted." Hyun found his voice. "Your Majesty, I am honored, but I am nobody important. Why choose me?" "Because you see things we do not. Because you treated me as a person, not a crown. Because your species interests me, and you represent them well." Hyun thought of Earth. This marriage would protect his world, give humanity a powerful ally. He thought of Talira, lonely despite her power. He thought of the conversations they had shared. "I accept," he said, "if you will have me." The wedding was planned for 1 month later. It would blend human and Draxian traditions, a symbol of unity. As Hyun left the throne room, he heard nobles whispering. "She marries beneath her station. Humans are weak. This will end badly." Hyun ignored them. He had made his choice. Neither he nor Talira knew yet what it would mean. Neither understood the true power that humans carried. But they would learn. The galaxy would learn, too. The palace was a maze. 3 months into his marriage, Hyun still got lost regularly. The Draxians built their homes for telepaths who could sense danger and direction. They did not need signs or logical layouts. They just knew where to go. Hyun did not know. He walked through crystalline corridors that all looked identical, trying to find his way to the Eastern Gardens. He had a meeting with Talira there in 10 minutes. "Lost again, human?" Counselor Thran appeared from a side passage. The old Draxian made no effort to hide his contempt. 3 months in the palace and you still wander like a child." "I am learning," Hyun said politely. Thran had opposed the marriage from the start. Nothing Hyun said would change his mind. "Learning?" Thran snorted. "Your kind is slow at everything. The queen wastes her time with you." Hyun had learned not to argue. He simply bowed and continued walking. Behind him, Thran laughed. That evening, Hyun stayed up late in his quarters. He pulled up holographic maps of the palace and studied them. The Draxian architects built in 3 dimensions, with levels that spiraled and connected in strange ways. But there were patterns. It took him hours, but he found them. He created his own map system, marking dangerous areas, noting which corridors led where. He added details the Draxian maps ignored, temperature changes that indicated different sections, the sound of fountains that marked the southern wing, the smell of the gardens that told him he was near the eastern quarter. Humans evolved to navigate without telepathy. They used landmarks, patterns, and memory. Hyun used those skills now. Within 2 weeks, he stopped getting lost. Within a month, he moved through the palace faster than some Draxian servants. Talira noticed. "You have adapted," she said during breakfast. "Thran reported you reached the council chamber before him yesterday. He was not pleased." Hyun smiled. "I created a different navigation system. Your people used telepathy. I use observation." "Show me." He explained his method. Talira listened with fascination. "We never needed such skills. Our telepathy provides instant orientation. But your way is interesting, more reliable in some ways. Telepathy can be blocked or confused. Your landmarks cannot." Their marriage was strange, but not unhappy. They were still learning about each other. Talira was patient, intelligent, and curious. She treated Hyun as an equal despite the protests of her court. He respected her strength and appreciated her kindness. But they were different, so very different. The crisis came suddenly. A plague struck the outer colonies. Thousands fell sick. The disease attacked fast, killing within days. Draxian medical science, the most advanced in the galaxy, could not stop it. Hyun attended the emergency council meeting. Doctors reported their failures. They had tried genetic manipulation, cellular regeneration, and molecular surgery. Nothing worked. The plague adapted faster than they could respond. "We are losing entire colonies," one doctor said grimly. "We estimate 10 million dead within the month." "Is there no solution?" Talira demanded. Her composure cracked. She was watching her people die. "None that we can find, Your Majesty. The disease evolves too quickly. Every treatment we develop becomes useless within hours." Hyun raised his hand hesitantly. "Your Majesty, may I speak?" Thran glared at him. "This is not human concern. You lack the knowledge to help." "Let him speak," Talira said. "I have a sister on Earth, Hana. She is a biologist. Humans have different medical approaches. Perhaps she could help?" The council erupted. "A human biologist? Ridiculous. Their technology is centuries behind ours. This is desperation, not sense." Talira raised her hand for silence. "Explain why a human might succeed where we have failed." Hyun chose his words carefully. "Your medical science is amazing. You can manipulate genes and rebuild cells. But Earth has different challenges. We face many diseases, thousands of them. Our bodies learn to fight constantly. Our immune systems are very strong because they had to be. Immune systems? A doctor looked confused. We eliminated most disease millennia ago. We do not rely on natural immunity. That might be the problem, Hyun said. You fight disease with technology. We fight disease with biology. My sister studies how diseases evolve and how bodies adapt. She might see things you do not. Talira made her decision. Bring her, immediately. Hana arrived 3 days later. She was younger than Hyun, energetic and brilliant. She took one look at the Draxian medical data and laughed. You are trying to outsmart it, she said. That will not work. Evolution is smarter than anyone. The Draxian doctors looked offended. Our methods have worked for thousands of years. Against normal diseases, yes. But this one is special. Look at the pattern. Every time you attack it directly, it evolves a defense. You are in an arms race and it is winning. What do you suggest? The head doctor asked coldly. Stop attacking it. Let the body fight it. Draxian bodies cannot fight this disease. That is why we use technology. Hana smiled. Draxian bodies cannot. But the principle is the same. Instead of killing the disease, help the body recognize it. Train the immune response. On Earth, we call it vaccination. We know of this primitive technique. Primitive, but effective. And adaptable. The disease evolves? Fine. We evolve faster. We teach the body to recognize the disease's basic structure, not its surface features. Even if it changes, the body still knows it as the enemy. The doctors were skeptical, but Talira gave Hana permission to try. Within days, Hana developed a treatment using principles of human immunology. She did not try to kill the disease directly. Instead, she taught Draxian immune systems to fight back. It worked. Slowly at first, then faster. The death rate dropped. Colonies began recovering. Within 3 weeks, the plague was contained. The council meeting afterwards was tense. The doctors grudgingly admitted success. Thren looked like he had eaten something bitter. The humans' methods were crude but effective, the head doctor said. We will study these techniques. You should study why they work, Hana said. She had stayed for the meeting against protocol. You rely on technology so much you forgot biology. You eliminated disease, which is good, but you also eliminated your body's ability to fight. Humans get sick all the time. Our immune systems are incredibly strong because they have to be. We evolved under pressure. Talira looked at Hyun with new eyes. You said your species is stubborn, but it is more than that. You are survivors. You did not eliminate challenges. You learned to overcome them. That night, Talira found Hyun in the palace gym. He was lifting weights, something he did every day. She watched from the doorway, confused. Why do you do this? She asked. You stress your muscles deliberately. Hyun set down the weights. To stay strong. Humans need exercise. Without it, we become weak. But you damage your muscles. I can sense it. Tiny tears in the tissue. Yes, that is how muscles grow. We damage them slightly, they heal stronger. It is called adaptation. Talira entered the gym. May I try? Hyun showed her the basic exercises. She was naturally stronger than him. Her Draxian physiology more powerful. But she tired quickly. Her body was not built for endurance. Humans are weaker individually, Hyun explained. But we evolved to keep going. On Earth, our ancestors hunted by chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We are not the fastest or strongest, but we do not stop, he demonstrated, running on the treadmill. Talira watched him run for 30 minutes without slowing. Her own people could sprint faster, but would tire in minutes. Persistence, she said softly. Your species survives through persistence. Yes, we adapt, we endure, and we keep going. That is human power. Later, in their private quarters, Talira tried something she rarely did. She attempted to read Hyun's mind with her telepathy. She wanted to understand him completely. She found nothing. Not silence, but complexity. His thoughts moved too fast, in patterns too strange. Human consciousness was dense, layered, protected not by barriers, but by sheer chaotic depth. "I cannot read you," she admitted. "I have tried before. Your mind is strange to me." "Is that bad?" Hyun asked. "No, it is frustrating but also fascinating. I am so used to knowing what others think. With you, I must ask. I must listen. I must actually communicate." She moved closer. "I am beginning to understand. You are not weaker than us. You are different. You developed abilities we never needed. Navigation without telepathy. Medicine based on biology. Endurance over short-term power. Adaptation instead of perfection." Hyun took her hand. Her crystalline skin was warm. "Your people are amazing. But you evolved in easier conditions. You became powerful early. Humans evolved in hell. Earth tried to kill us constantly. Disease, predators, climate, each other. We survived by being stubborn and adaptable. I married you thinking I was protecting your species," Talira said. "I thought I was being generous to a weaker people. I was wrong. I am learning from you." "We are learning from each other," Hyun corrected. "That is what partnership means." Thren and other nobles still whispered that the queen had married beneath her station. They still called humans weak and primitive. But some were beginning to wonder. The human had navigated the impossible palace. His sister had cured an incurable plague. Small things, perhaps. Lucky events. But Talira was beginning to see a pattern. Human weakness was actually strength of a different kind. She had married Hyun out of curiosity and politics. She was starting to realize she had married something much more interesting. The galaxy had not seen what humans could do yet. Neither had Talira, but she would. The alarm woke them in the middle of the night. Red lights flashed through the palace. Talira was up instantly, her training automatic. Hyun followed, his heart racing. "What is happening?" he asked. "The hive," Talira said grimly. "They are attacking." The hive was a nightmare the Draxians had fought for decades. An insect-like species that operated as one massive mind. Billions of individual creatures controlled by a single collective intelligence. They consumed everything in their path, converting planets into breeding grounds. In the war room, General Vexus stood before a holographic display showing the fleet positions. Red dots swarmed across the map like a disease spreading. "They hit 3 border colonies simultaneously," Vexus reported. "Our fleets are responding, but the numbers are overwhelming. They have never attacked in such force before." Talira studied the display. "What are our casualties?" 7 ships destroyed. 4 colonies partially evacuated. We estimate 5 million civilians still trapped." Hyun watched the battle unfold on the screen. The Draxian ships were beautiful and deadly, their weapons powerful beyond human understanding. But the hive came in endless waves. For every hive ship destroyed, 3 more took its place. "They are swarming," Vexus said. "Our standard tactics are failing. We coordinate through telepathy, striking with precision. But the hive moves as one mind. They predict our every move. Because they think like you," Hyun said quietly. Everyone turned. He had not meant to speak aloud. "Explain," Talira commanded. "You are telepaths. You coordinate perfectly. Your tactics are precise and logical. But the hive is also a collective mind. It thinks like you do, just differently. It knows how unified minds work. That is why it predicts you." "And you have a better idea?" Vexus asked with barely hidden contempt. "Maybe. On Earth, we do not have telepathy. We fight each other. Humans learned warfare by fighting humans. We are good at it because we are unpredictable. We trick, we lie, we change plans. We do not coordinate perfectly. We adapt." "War is not about tricks," Vexus snapped. "It is about power and strategy." "No," Hyun said, meeting the general's eyes. War is about winning, about survival. Everything else is just ego. Talira held up her hand before Vexus could respond. I am willing to listen. Our methods are failing. What do you suggest? Let me contact Earth. Ask for military advisors. They cannot help with technology, but they can help with tactics. The council erupted in protest. Thren stood furious. This is madness. Humans have no space combat experience. They will get our people killed. Our people are already dying, Talira said coldly. Thousands every hour. I will try anything that might help. Contact Earth. Admiral Sora arrived 4 days later with a small human contingent. She was older, scarred, and utterly calm. She studied the battle data for 6 hours without speaking. Finally, she looked up. You are fighting like you are superior. You are not. Vexus bristled. Our technology exceeds the Hive by centuries. Technology does not win wars. Thinking wins wars. The Hive is beating you because it adapts faster than you do. You have elegant tactics, beautiful coordination, but you are predictable. Predictable? Vexus looked insulted. Yes, watch. Sora pulled up battle recordings. Here, you detect a Hive formation. You analyze it, plan a counterstrike, and execute perfectly. It works. So next time, you do the same thing. The Hive learns. Look at this battle from 2 days later. Same situation, same response from you. But this time the Hive was ready. It baited you into the attack. She changed the display. You fight honorably. You do not retreat unless necessary. You do not feint or deceive. The Hive knows this. It knows you will fight directly. So it plans for that. What do you suggest? Talira asked. Sora smiled. We make you unpredictable. We teach you to lie. Over the next week, Sora and her tactical officer Doyun worked with the Draxian commanders. They introduced concepts the Draxians found disturbing. Retreat when you are winning, Doyun explained. Make the enemy think you are weak, then ambush them. That is dishonorable, a Draxian captain protested. Honor does not protect your people, Doyun replied. Victory does. They showed the Draxians guerrilla tactics, hit and run attacks, false retreats, feints that looked like real assaults, sacrificing unimportant positions to bait the enemy into traps. You have overwhelming firepower, Sora said, but you use it predictably. Imagine you are fighting yourself. How would you win? I would anticipate their moves, Vexus said slowly. Use their predictability against them. Exactly. Now do that to the Hive. It expects you to fight with honor and coordination. Do the opposite. Be chaotic. Be deceptive. Be human. Hyun worked alongside Doyun, helping translate concepts between human and Draxian thinking. It was difficult. The Draxians struggled with deception. Their telepathy made lying unnatural. They had to learn to think like predators instead of warriors. On Earth, Hyun explained to a group of young officers, humans fought humans for millions of years. We got very good at killing each other. We learned every dirty trick. Ambush, betrayal, psychological warfare. We are not proud of this, but it made us survivors. Your species fought itself? One officer asked, horrified. Constantly. We still do. Humans are violent and territorial. We only stopped fighting each other when we found common enemies. Even now, we barely cooperate. But this made us good at war. We understand it in ways telepathic species do not. The first test came 3 days later. A Hive force attacked a supply station. The Draxian defenders fought back, then suddenly retreated. The Hive pursued, sensing weakness. The Draxians led them into a nebula where sensors failed. Then they stopped, turned, and struck from 3 directions at once. The Hive, expecting the retreat to continue, was caught completely off guard. The battle was won in minutes. It worked. Vexus said, stunned. The Hive did not anticipate the reversal. Because its collective intelligence assumes rational behavior, Sora explained. Retreating when winning is irrational. So it did not prepare for it. More victories followed. The Draxians learned to use false signals, fake retreats, and deceptive deployments. They stopped fighting honorably and started fighting effectively. The Hive began to falter. Its collective intelligence could not adapt to genuine chaos. It had evolved to fight logical enemies. Humans were not logical in war. They were survivors who would do anything to win. Hyun watched from the command center as another battle turned in their favor. Talira stood beside him, her expression thoughtful. "Your species is frightening," she said quietly. "Yes," Hyun agreed. "We are. You evolved fighting each other. That level of conflict sustained for so long, it should have destroyed you." It nearly did, many times, but it also taught us. We learned that survival matters more than pride. Victory matters more than honor. Protecting your people matters more than anything. And yet you are not cruel. You do not enjoy this. Hyun shook his head. No. We hate war, but we are very good at it. Earth made us this way. You become good at what you must do to survive. A message came through from the front lines. Another victory. The Hive forces were retreating across multiple sectors. For the first time in decades, the Draxians were winning. The celebration in the palace was subdued. They had won battles, but the war continued. And the victory tasted strange. The Draxians had always fought with honor. This new way felt wrong, even if it worked. Thren approached Hyun during the celebration. "You have made us into deceivers, liars. Is this what humanity offers? Corruption of our values?" "No," Hyun said. "I offer survival." "Your values are beautiful, but they were getting your people killed. Sometimes you must choose between pride and life. I choose life." Easy words from a species with no honor. We have honor. We just do not let it kill us. There is honor in protecting your family, in doing whatever is necessary to keep them safe. That is human honor, survival honor. Thren walked away, disgusted. But Hyun noticed other Draxians watching, some with respect, some with fear, all with new understanding. That night, Talira took Hyun to the observation deck. They looked out at the stars where battles raged. "I married you thinking humans were weak," she said. "I see now you are dangerous. Your whole species is dangerous. You evolved in constant warfare. You learned to kill efficiently. That is terrifying." "Yes," Hyun agreed. "But also remember why we are dangerous. We fight hard because we must. We develop these skills out of desperation, not choice. And when the fighting is over, we try to build peace. We want peace more than anyone because we know war too well. You are paradoxes, violent survivors who want peace, deceivers who value honesty, weak individuals who together are strong. We are human. We survive. That is all we have ever done." Talira took his hand. "I am beginning to understand. Human power is not in your technology or your bodies. It is in your thinking. You learn to survive anything, to adapt to any challenge, to do whatever is necessary. Yes, Earth tried to kill us for millions of years. It failed. We are still here. That is human power. We refused to die." The war was not over. The Hive would adapt eventually. But for now, humanity had given the Draxians something they lacked: the ability to fight without rules, to be unpredictable, to think like prey that became predators. The galaxy was beginning to learn what Earth already knew. Humans were not to be underestimated, not because they were strong, but because they were survivors. And survivors would do anything to keep surviving. Anything at all. The war was turning in their favor. 3 months of human tactical advice had changed everything. The Draxian fleet pushed the hive back system by system. Victory seemed possible now. But in the palace, darkness grew. Counselor Thren stood before his secret gathering. 10 nobles sat in the hidden chamber, their faces grim in the dim light. "The humans humiliate us," Thren said. "Our military relies on their primitive tactics. Our queen takes advice from a weak species. This alliance weakens the empire." "What do you propose?" Lady Rin asked. She was young for a Draxian noble, only 300 years old, but ambitious. "We end the marriage, remove the human. The alliance breaks, and we return to our proper place as the galaxy's leaders. The queen will never agree. The queen will have no choice when her human husband is dead." The conspiracy formed slowly. They could not move directly. Talira would sense betrayal through telepathy. They needed to be clever. Fortunately, humans were vulnerable in ways Draxians were not. They designed a poison. It was elegant work. The toxin would kill only humans, leaving Draxians completely unharmed. When investigators checked, they would find nothing dangerous to Draxians. The conspiracy would remain hidden. The state dinner was planned for the following week. Every noble would attend. The poison would be released through the ventilation system. Hyun would die while surrounded by people who could not be harmed. An unfortunate accident. A tragedy. The conspirators were careful. They told no one. They kept their thoughts shielded. They prepared everything in secret. But they made one mistake. They did not understand human paranoia. Jiho was a human engineer working on palace systems. He had been sent from Earth to help upgrade security after the hive attacks. He was good at his job, methodical and thorough, and very paranoid. "Something is wrong with the environmental controls," Jiho told his supervisor. "The system has been accessed at odd times. The logs show it, then the logs get erased." "Maybe maintenance?" the supervisor suggested. "Maybe. But why erase the logs? I want to investigate." Humans evolved as prey before becoming predators. They developed strong threat detection. Jiho could not explain why, but something felt wrong. A feeling in his gut. An instinct that said danger. He dug deeper into the systems. He found hidden access points, modified code, changes that made no sense for normal maintenance. He traced the modifications back and found something that made his blood run cold. The ventilation system for the Grand Hall had been altered. A dispersion mechanism had been installed. Something was going to be released during the dinner. Jiho tried to contact Hyun. He could not reach him. Security had changed and he did not have clearance. He tried the human embassy. Ambassador Yuna was off-world. He was running out of time. Then Jiho disappeared. Lady Rin's guards found him investigating the ventilation system. They could not let him warn anyone. They locked him in a storage room deep in the palace. "The human found something," Rin reported to Thren. "But we have him. He cannot warn anyone. Are we still proceeding?" Another conspirator asked nervously. "Yes, tomorrow night. It ends." The day of the dinner arrived. Hyun dressed carefully in formal clothes that blended human and Draxian styles. He had been to many state dinners now. He no longer felt nervous about them. But today felt different. He could not explain why. A tension in the air. A feeling that made his skin prickle. "Are you well?" Talira asked. She looked beautiful in her formal robes, her crystalline skin glowing. "I feel strange, like something is wrong." "Your human instincts?" She had learned to trust his feelings. Humans sensed things telepaths missed. "Maybe. I cannot explain it." They walked to the Grand Hall together. Hundreds of nobles gathered, representing every major family in the Empire. The celebration was for the war victories. Hyun should have been proud. He had helped achieve this, but the feeling would not leave. His eyes scanned the crowd. Nothing obvious. Everyone smiled and bowed. But something was wrong. He looked for Jiho. The engineer should be here, checking the systems. Jiho always worried about security. Where was he? The dinner began. Servers brought exotic foods from across the empire. Music played. Nobles made speeches about victory and strength. Hyun barely listened. He watched. A server's hand trembled slightly. A noble's smile did not reach her eyes. Small things, tiny details, but Hyun noticed them all. "Talira," he whispered, "something is wrong." "What do you sense?" "I do not know, but Jiho is not here. He should be here." Before Talira could respond, the ventilation system activated with a soft hum. Air circulated through the hall. Normal, expected. Except Hyun saw a noble glance at Thren. Just a quick look, and Thren nodded slightly. "Get down!" Hyun shouted. He grabbed Talira and pulled her to the floor as alarms in his head screamed danger. The air in the hall changed. Hyun felt it immediately, a burning in his lungs, poison. His body recognized the threat instantly. Human bodies were very good at detecting poison. Earth had millions of toxic plants and animals. Humans evolved to sense danger. Around them, Draxian nobles stood confused. They felt nothing. The poison did not affect them. Hyun could not breathe. His vision blurred. His body fought the toxin with everything it had. Human immune systems were strong, but this poison was designed specifically to kill humans. "Hyun!" Talira screamed. She saw him collapse, gasping. "Medical team, now!" Guards rushed forward. The hall erupted in chaos. Hyun lay on the floor, his body convulsing. He could hear people shouting, feel hands on him, but everything was fading. He was dying. He knew it. The poison was too strong. He had maybe minutes left. His body disagreed. Human bodies were built to survive. They fought poison, disease, injury, with ferocious determination. Hyun's immune system flooded his blood with antibodies. His liver worked overtime to process the toxin. His lungs struggled to keep taking in air despite the burning. It hurt. Everything hurt. But humans evolved to endure pain. Pain meant you were alive. You kept going through the pain. Dr. Nari arrived from the human embassy. She had been at a different event when the emergency call came. She ran into the hall and saw Hyun on the floor. "What happened?" she demanded. "Poison in the air," Talira said. Her composure had shattered. She held Hyun's hand, and her eyes were wild with fear. "It only affects humans. Can you save him?" Nari scanned Hyun quickly. Her face went pale. "This toxin is extremely lethal. He should already be dead. Why is he still alive?" "He is human," Talira said. "Can you save him?" "His body is fighting. I have never seen an immune response this strong. But the poison is winning. I need equipment from the embassy. Whatever you need, name it." Nari worked frantically. She explained as she prepared treatments. "You see weakness. I see something else. Humans evolved to survive everything. Poison, disease, predators. Earth tried to kill us for millions of years. Our bodies learned to fight back." She injected Han with human antibodies. "Our immune systems are aggressive. They treat everything as a threat and attack it. It makes us sick often, but it also makes us survivors." "Will he live?" Talira asked. "I do not know. But if any species can survive this, it is humans. We refuse to die easily." 3 days passed. Hyun lay unconscious, his body fighting. Human bodies had redundant systems, backup organs, the ability to shut down non-essential functions to focus on survival. Talira never left his side. She watched him breathe, watched his heart beat on the monitors. She had married him for political reasons. When had that changed? When had he become essential to her? The investigation moved quickly. The poison's design pointed to Draxian science. The ventilation modifications were traced back to Lady Rin. Under telepathic interrogation, the entire conspiracy unraveled. Thren and 9 others, all arrested, all guilty. On the 3rd day, Hyun opened his eyes. Talira was sleeping in a chair beside his bed. She looked exhausted. Talira, he whispered. His voice was rough. She woke immediately. Hyun, you are awake. How do you feel? Like I died, but was too stubborn to stay dead. He managed a weak smile. What happened? She told him everything. The conspiracy, the poison, his near death. Dr. Nari said your recovery is impossible. You should have died. Why did you survive? Human bodies are stubborn. We evolved to survive anything. Poison is just another challenge. He coughed and pain shot through him. Though I would prefer not to do it again. You will not. I promise you. Her eyes hardened. I am judging the conspirators tomorrow. They tried to kill you. They tried to break our alliance. They will pay. The judgment was public. Thren and the other conspirators stood before the throne. The evidence was absolute. Under telepathic interrogation, they could not lie. You tried to murder my husband, Talira said, her voice cold as ice. You designed a poison specifically to kill humans. You betrayed your oath to the Empire. Why? Because humans weaken us, Thren said. He showed no remorse. You married beneath you. You let them teach us their dishonorable tactics. You diminish what we are. No, Talira stood. You are wrong. Humans do not weaken us. They teach us. They survived impossible odds. They offer different perspectives. They make us better. She looked at the assembled court. I married Hyun thinking I was protecting a weak species. I was wrong. Humans are not weak. They are survivors. They endured a planet that tried to kill them constantly. They developed abilities we never needed, and yes, they are dangerous, because survivors will do anything to keep surviving. But they brought us victory. They saved our people from plague. They treat death threats as problems to solve rather than reasons to surrender. I did not marry beneath my station. I married an equal from a species that understands survival better than any race in the galaxy. She passed judgment. The conspirators were exiled to prison colonies. Thren protested, but Talira was unmoved. That night, she held Hyun close. I almost lost you. I did not realize how much that would hurt. I am hard to kill, Hyun said. Humans are. Yes, you are. Your species refuses to die. It is admirable and terrifying. She kissed his forehead. I am glad you are stubborn. It is what humans do best. We survive. The galaxy was learning. Humans were not weak. They were survivors forged in the harshest conditions, and survivors were the most dangerous beings of all, because they simply refused to die. 6 months after the assassination attempt, everything seemed perfect. The war was nearly won. The hive retreated on all fronts. Peace looked possible for the first time in decades. Then the hive stopped retreating. They are regrouping, Admiral Sora reported. Our scouts detect massive fleet movements. They are gathering everything they have. Where? Talira demanded. Sora pointed at the star map. Here, the Draxian homeworld. Silence fell over the war room. An attack on the homeworld was unthinkable. No enemy had reached it in 1,000 years. General Vexus studied the numbers. They outnumber us 5-1. Even with human tactics, we cannot win this battle. We must evacuate, a counselor suggested. Remove the royal family and government. Abandon the planet. No, Talira said firmly. This is our home. We do not abandon it. Then we will die defending it. Hyun studied the tactical display. Something felt wrong. Why now? The hive was losing. Why commit everything to one attack? Desperation, Vexus suggested. Maybe, or strategy. The hive learned from us. We taught it that logic is not enough. Now it tries something unexpected, something we would not anticipate. What do you suggest? I need to talk to Earth. Ambassador Isul should be arriving soon. Ambassador Isul came with surprising news. Earth wants to help, but not with weapons or tactics. What then? Talira asked. People, volunteers, thousands of them, teachers, engineers, doctors, farmers, artists. They want to come here. We need warriors, not civilians, Vexus protested. Hyun looked at Isul and understood. No, we need exactly what Earth is offering. You are about to see humanity's real power. The ships arrived over the next week. 15,000 human volunteers from Earth. They were not soldiers. They were ordinary people who heard about the coming attack and chose to help. The Draxian military did not understand. What use are teachers in a war? You will see, Hyun promised. The hive arrived like a dark cloud, thousands of ships blocking out the stars. The Draxian fleet engaged them in orbit while ground forces prepared for invasion. The battle was brutal. Draxian ships fought brilliantly, using every trick humans had taught them. But the numbers were overwhelming. One by one, ships fell. The orbital defenses crumbled. On the fifth day, hive forces breached the planetary shields. Landing pods crashed across the continent. Insect warriors poured out, beginning their assault on the cities. The Draxian military fought with courage and skill, but they were exhausted. Days of continuous battle with no rest had drained them. Draxian warriors were powerful but not built for endurance. That was when the humans stepped forward. In the hospitals, human doctors worked alongside Draxian medical staff. Take a break, Dr. Nari told a Draxian surgeon who had worked for 18 hours straight. I will take over. You cannot. You will tire. I am human. I can work for days if needed. Rest. I will call you when I need relief. The Draxian doctor collapsed into sleep. Nari continued working, her human endurance keeping the medical center running. Across the planet, the same scene repeated. Human engineers kept power plants running through constant attacks. They worked in shifts, but each shift lasted longer than Draxians could manage. Human farmers organized food distribution, working through exhaustion to keep everyone fed. Human teachers comforted frightened children, maintaining calm when others panicked. And human soldiers rotated into the front lines, spelling exhausted Draxian warriors. Rest, Captain Minho told a Draxian squad leader. We will hold this position. You cannot hold for long. We can hold for days if we must. That is what humans do. The hive adapted its strategy. It tried to overwhelm defenders through continuous pressure. Never stopping, never resting. It worked against most species. It did not work against humans. Human squads rotated constantly. When one group tired, another took over. The hive faced defenders who never seemed to exhaust. Every time it pushed forward, fresh human soldiers appeared. They just keep coming, a Draxian officer said with wonder. How are they not tired? They are tired, Hyun explained. He watched from the command center, coordinating efforts. Exhausted, actually, but humans learned to function while tired. We evolved as persistence hunters. We chased prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Our bodies know how to keep moving when logic says we should stop. But it was more than physical endurance. Something else happened as the siege continued. A Draxian child asked his mother, "Are we going to die?" Before she could answer, a human teacher named Borum knelt beside him. Maybe. Maybe not. But being afraid is okay. You know what humans do when we are afraid? What? We tell stories. We sing. We hold each other. We remember that even if today is hard, tomorrow might be better. We hope. Borum gathered children and taught them human songs. Simple melodies about courage and perseverance. The children sang, and their fear lessened. Throughout the cities, humans spread something the Draxians had never fully understood. Psychological resilience. The ability to endure not just physical hardship, but mental and emotional trauma. On Earth, explained human psychologist Dr. Nari in a broadcast to the planet, we face constant hardship, war, poverty, disease, natural disasters. We learned that survival is not just about bodies. It is about minds and hearts. It is okay to be scared. It is okay to cry. What matters is that you keep going. She taught Draxian civilians techniques humans developed over millennia. How to process fear, how to find hope in darkness, how to support each other through trauma. The Draxians listened and learned. Their telepathy let them share emotions. But humans taught them how to manage those emotions, how to turn fear into determination, how to find strength in community. The siege stretched into weeks. The hive kept attacking, kept pushing. But the defenders never broke. On day 73, something changed. The hive forces slowed. Their attacks became less coordinated. Then, on day 74, they withdrew. The entire hive fleet left the system. In the command center, everyone stared in shock. "They are retreating?" Vexus said, disbelieving. "Why? They were winning." Hyun studied the data and understood. No, they were losing. The hive operates on mathematical logic. It calculated that we should have broken by now. Any normal species would have exhausted their resources, broken mentally, surrendered. But we did not. Because of humans. We taught your people to endure. The hive could not comprehend it. Beings that grow stronger through adversity instead of weaker. Species that refuse to quit no matter how tired they become. It broke the hive's logic. They retreated because their mathematics said we were impossible. Analysis confirmed it later. The hive collective intelligence had never encountered a species like humanity. Evolution taught the hive that all beings had breaking points. Exhaust them enough and they quit. Humans did not quit. Humans got tired, afraid, hurt, but kept moving forward anyway, and they taught other species to do the same. 3 days after the hive left, Talira called a gathering of the Council of Species. 12 civilizations sent representatives, including races that had watched the battle from afar. She stood before them, Hyun beside her. "I married a human 2 years ago. Many questioned this decision. They called humans weak, primitive, inferior." She looked at Hyun. "I was wrong about humans. So was everyone else. Humans possess the rarest power in the galaxy. Not technology, not telepathy, not physical strength. They possess the power to endure." She gestured to the windows showing the recovering planet. "The hive nearly destroyed us. We should have fallen. But we survived because humans taught us something revolutionary. They taught us that hardship makes you stronger, that being afraid is okay, that the key to survival is refusing to give up. Humans evolved in hell. Earth tried to kill them with ice ages, diseases, predators, disasters. Every challenge should have ended them. But they survived each one. They adapted. They persisted. They turned suffering into strength. A representative from the Kelran species spoke. "This is weakness dressed as strength. True power is being invulnerable." "No," Talira said. "True power is being vulnerable and surviving anyway. Humans get sick but recover. They get hurt but heal. They face death constantly and choose to keep living. That is real strength. Survival strength." The council debated for hours. Finally, they voted. Earth would receive full membership in the galactic community, not as junior members, but as equals, as teachers of the most important skill, endurance. That evening, Hyun found Talira in their quarters. She was crying, something he had never seen before. "What is wrong?" he asked, concerned. "I am pregnant," she said, "with our child, a hybrid, Draxian and human. Is that bad?" "No, it is wonderful." "But I am afraid. What if our child inherits only weakness from both species?" Hyun pulled her close. "Or what if our child inherits the best of both? Draxian power and longevity, human resilience and adaptability. They could be incredible. Are you not afraid?" "Terrified," Hyun admitted. "Being a parent is scary. But fear is part of being human. We feel the fear and move forward anyway. That is what I will teach our child." Months later, their son was born. They named him Tayo. He was beautiful, with his mother's crystalline skin and his father's dark eyes. He had Draxian telepathy and human adaptability. One day, when Tayo was old enough to ask questions, he looked up at his father. "Papa, what makes humans special?" Yun picked up his son. Around them, the palace had been rebuilt. The planet recovered. The scars of war faded slowly. "Humans are not the strongest," Hyun said, "or the fastest, or the smartest, but we never, ever stop trying. When others would quit, we keep going. When logic says to give up, we find hope. We survive not because it is easy, but because we refuse to do anything else. Is that my power too? Yes. You have human blood. You will face hard things. You will be tired and scared and hurt, but you will keep going. That is your power, our power, the power to endure." Teo hugged his father. Outside, the sun set over the Draxian homeworld, a world that survived because humans taught them the most important lesson. Survival is not about never falling. It is about always getting back up. Years passed. The hive never returned. Other threats arose, but the Draxians faced them with new confidence. They had learned from humans. They had learned to endure. Talira ruled for centuries more, Hyun by her side for as long as his human lifespan allowed. When he grew old, she held his hand and thanked him. "You changed everything," she said. "You showed us true power. Not the power to dominate, but the power to persist." "I just showed you what humans already knew," Hyun said. His hair was gray, his face lined with age, but his eyes still held that stubborn spark. "We survive, that is all. We just survive." "No," Talira said. "You do more than survive. You teach others to survive. You give hope. That is humanity's gift to the galaxy." When Heian died, the entire empire mourned. He was buried with honors equal to any warrior, because he was a warrior, not of weapons, but of spirit. A warrior who taught others that the greatest victory is simply refusing to quit. And in the palace, young Prince Tayo grew up knowing his father's legacy. He carried human blood, survivor blood, the blood of a species that turned weakness into strength and suffering into wisdom. The galaxy learned its lesson. Never underestimate humans, not because they were powerful in traditional ways, but because they possessed something rarer and more valuable: the power to endure, the power to adapt, the power to face impossible odds and survive anyway, the power that comes from evolving in hell and learning to call it home, the power of humanity, the power to never, ever give up. And that power, once shared, changed everything.